2 million federal workers. In a letter to congressional leaders today, Trump said federal agency budgets cannot sustain such increases. Stocks are falling on Wall Street at the closing bell today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 138 points to close at 25,986. An explosion at a Chicago water reclamation plant left 9 people hurt. The building's roof partially collapsed. And it's the final day for Aretha Franklin fans to attend a public viewing. Richard Jordan, NBC News Radio.
If you or a loved one was seriously injured in an accident with a semi-truck or an 18-wheeler truck, you need to act fast. I'm attorney Daniel Rudbari. I know how to fight truck companies. Call me 800-325-1454 for your free consultation. 800-325-1454. Truck accident cases are different than an auto versus auto accident. There are so many more issues involved when dealing with a truck accident case. There are federal regulations and state regulations, several different companies that may be involved. I can immediately gather the evidence, get you the medical care you need with no deductible and no copay to you, and get you the compensation and the money you deserve for your injuries. And if there's no recovery, there's no fees charged to you. I'm attorney Daniel Rudbari. I know how to fight truck companies. Call me 800-325-1454 for your free consultation. 800-325-1454.
Do you want exposure for your business or organization? Check out Digital Network Advertising. Digital Network Advertising is where businesses display your ad inside their building. You can choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your slide holds a virtual billboard for 14 seconds and is displayed 3 times an hour. It's a novel way to be seen, be discovered, and to be remembered. Digital Network Advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call 909-222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the greatest real estate investment show ever. Here's the flip-flop investor himself, Todd Bayer.
Well, hey everyone, how we doing out there today? This is the Flip Flop Investor Show, and I am your host, Todd Bayer, the Flip Flop Investor himself. Every week we get together and talk about real estate investing here in the Inland Empire, and we like to bring on a local investor and talk to them about their experience in real estate. Today we have a special guest, somebody I just met actually, came to the club. Pam, I can't pronounce your last name. Can you say it for me?
Sure, Pam Scamardo.
Okay, so it's pronounced just like it's spelled.
Yeah, got that from my husband's side. Yeah, Sicilian.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get Sicilian from him. He didn't threaten me at all, so I don't know. No. So you are in commercial real estate, right?
That's right. I invest and I negotiate and purchase apartment complexes. And then all the cash flow that comes from it, I share it with my investors. It's pretty fun.
Very cool. That's a very good way to do it. Hey, guys in the booth, I'm getting some music or something in my cans here. And it's still going. I can still hear it. And I'm sure everybody else out in Radio Land can hear it too. Anywho, so let's get started talking about some commercial. Well, let's first talk about your background a little bit, because you started out going down a very different career path, right?
That's right. I used to be an aerospace engineer and did that for about 9 years and decided that, hey, I'm ready to invest in apartment complexes because I wanted to have some passive income for our family, for our future, kind of like a safety net. And then I fell in love with the process, so decided to just keep doing it, and then finally took the plunge and went full-time in commercial real estate investing in 2012.
2012.
Yeah.
That was a great time to get into commercial real estate.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I didn't know at the time that was a good time.
Okay, well, they're telling us to talk more into the microphone.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
I will be kissing the microphone.
That
Hello.
would be it. Okay, now I can hear you. Okay, I'm sure everybody else can hear you now too. So, going back, so you originally working as an aerospace engineer.
Correct.
On what would you call it? Why is my phone on vibrate? So you were working as on like a contract basis. So you weren't like hired on by this company. You were working as a contract employee.
That's correct. I did start off as like a salaried employee. I used to work for Lockheed Martin, went to Boeing, and then my last job was at UTC Aerospace Systems, and that's when I was a contractor for a bit. It was pretty fun. And then I decided to do this, and haven't turned back since then. I also have a background in taxes as well, so I used to briefly work with H&R Block.
Okay.
And I just love numbers. So as an engineering background, anything with numbers, that's something that calls out to me. So I do that as well on the side.
That's good. So you have like that analytical mind where you can take a bunch of data being thrown at you and make sense of it.
Yeah, I love looking at deals, and that's kind of where it's my forte. It's like I can analyze it with numbers. I can look at it right away and say yay or nay, this is going to be a good return for my investors. And then once it kind of passes that threshold, then I present it to all my investors, and we go from there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go back a little bit. You're working as a contract employee for one of these aerospace companies, and you're sitting in your cubicle and you're like, I hate this? Or like, what was it that kind of sparked you to start looking for a different career path?
Well, pretty much a little bit of that, but it was more of, I noticed that my dad, he started to retire, and, the amount of the Social Security income that he was going to receive was dependent on at what year, what age he decided to retire. And I thought, hey, that's kind of not cool, because what's going to happen when we retire and then when our children retire? So I kind of started thinking a little bit of like, well, it's nice and all to be working at this engineering job, making a good amount of money, but what are we going to do to kind of help facilitate having a good nest egg when we retire? And then when I bought my first home, I love the process so much, just finding the deal, negotiating, working with the sellers. I just love the whole process, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't wait to do this again. And then at the time, my husband, who was my boyfriend and then who became my fiance, I enjoyed helping him through that process. I said, hey, honey, let's buy more. And so that's how it kind of started out. And then I started talking to my engineering buddies because I just have a passion for it. And, just shared the news that I was doing this, and they decided to invest with me, and I've been doing it since then.
Very cool. So, okay, so you want to like tell this whole story and jump so far ahead, but I got so many questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you found your first home, but that was to purchase to live in, right? That was like a...
Correct. It was purchased to live in, and then I bought a two bedroom, 2-bathroom, kind of like a condo. So it's in 2 floors. And so I decided, you know what? Let me rent it out. I wanted to see how it was like to be a landlord. So I started with that. Had a roommate for a bit. Then I realized, okay, I like this. I like managing this. I like doing everything about it. And then helped my husband as well, getting, tenants into his place when we moved in together. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of started off small like that. And then I guess, one of the books that I really love is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Rob Kiyosaki. And that kind of was like, I was mind blown after reading that.
So, okay, what got you into Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
It was just, let's see, I was talking to people about what I really enjoyed doing, and I wanted to look more into it. I started looking at clubs to attend, like an REI club, REI standing for real estate investing, just looking for local clubs to meet up other people. And I think it was just, thrown out there that, hey, for those who are interested, check out this book.
Okay.
Yeah, and I grabbed it, read it, fell in love with it, bought all the other fun books.
Yeah, and I think I've talked about it on the show a bunch of times. Like that's like the gateway drug for so many people is Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Right. It became kind of like my little Bible of just every day. I brought it to work, and I would read it during my lunch break or during my downtime at work, which I didn't have much of, but I just had it with me, and it was just kind of like my motivator to just one day I'm gonna make the jump. And it's going to be okay. Because I think that's the scariest part for most people, that, you don't know what's out there. But until you step into it, you won't know what else can be brought to your attention, like all the money that's out there, all the investments that you can have, all the great people that you meet, like yourself. I mean, look, we're the same age, and look, we're doing this. We're in, slightly different arenas, but it's kind of cool. Like our world can kind of cross, and still we can help each other out.
Absolutely. And it's funny how you got into commercial real estate, because I mean, he doesn't really talk about commercial real estate so much in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. he talks about rentals,
Right.
but he doesn't really bring up commercial real estate so much in that book. So, what kind of made you make the jump? Because you said you enjoyed buying a house so much. So, what made you jump from that book into commercial real estate? What was like the catalyst there?
Oh, that's a good question. So I love reading. So I was at Barnes and Nobles. This is on Friar Road in San Diego by the big mall there, and I was just reading any sort of book on real estate investing, and I stumbled upon one of the books. It was called like Commercial Real Estate for Dummies or something.
Okay.
By Peter Harris and Peter Conti. So
Okay.
that's one of the main books that kind of also helped propelled me into this arena. I read it, loved it so much. The numbers made sense.
Yeah.
And Peter Harris, who's the author of that book, one of the authors, he was also an engineer before too. And so when it just made sense to me more. So I felt like I was talking to him in person, or he was explaining things to me.
Okay.
And I just loved it. And the idea of having so many units under one roof to manage, it's just fun for me.
Right. So so in this book, and obviously commercial real estate, it's more numbers driven. Like you don't have the emotion that's usually involved in like a residential type deal, because like if the property has a view or not, that might affect rent, but it would already show probably, because you're not building a new apartment, you're buying
Right.
existing apartments. You can already see like what the rent looks like in that building. So it's a little bit easier, I would say, in some respects, with commercial, especially if you have an engineering or like a CPA type background. Like you can analyze those numbers, and it makes just like it jumps out at you off the page. You say, wait, this property makes this much return per year already, and I don't have to do anything to it, and I can just keep making that same return.
Exactly.
Like, it's just okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's
And
do
the
it.
coolest part, Todd, is that you get to manage those numbers too. You can manually increase the performance of the property. So you with a rehab background here, it's like you go in with your guys, maybe you spruce up a few units, test the market. Can we rent higher? And hey, if we can, that's more profit for my investors. And when we go in, we actually do believe in trying to give like quality life to our tenants too. So we'll go in with capital improvements. Hey, let's do the roofs. Let's fix each and every unit, bring it up to code, and make it comfortable for tenants who are happy to pay to live there.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's what makes me feel good, I think. And that's what I love about it, is like I can go in and kind of manually control the process. And then when we look at our net operating income and share that with the banks, they're happy, my investors are happy, we're all happy. And it kind of goes from there. So it's just kind of fun that, the numbers, like you said, are in the deal already. And then the fact that that you can also work with those numbers versus waiting for example, which I don't understand too much of, is like the stock market. Sometimes you might breathe a different way and then the stock market goes down because someone said something. So with apartment complexes, it won't move that fast. The next day will probably be the same at the same rent.
Right. Yeah. And, you might occasionally get the random phone call that says, hey, my water heater exploded or something like that. But have you dealt with any like major problems like that?
Oh, yes. Okay. So probably one of the biggest lessons for me first on was I bought a 6-unit apartment complex in San Diego. So talking about emotion, I'm emotionally attached to this one. I have not let it go since then, even though we've moved on to buying bigger properties.
Yeah.
This was, bank owned. They basically were like, please take it off our hands. And one of the units was completely flooded. So we had to gut it out. So talk about, School of Hard Knocks. I had to learn firsthand what it's like to kind of gut the units out, kind of budget for that, and then work with the city folks and, the inspectors who come on site, making sure we're in, we're up to code.
Right.
And that is another process as well. So
Absolutely.
you want to be friendly to your guys. You want to work with them. At the end of the day, they're doing their jobs too. They want to make sure we have something good going on for our tenants.
Yep.
So that was interesting. It was a tenant who retaliated because the bank was selling it to us, and he decided he was just going to flood the unit and bail and just leave.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean, we heard about plenty of stuff like that going on. I mean, I know I dealt with properties where people had poured concrete down the shower drains.
Oh, no.
And to get that stuff out requires a very harsh acid, or the quick way to do it is to just break out the existing pipes and put them back in. I mean, that's the quicker way to do it, because this acid can, corrode the pipes. I don't know. a big pain, and I hate when people would do that stuff because you don't always know that when you buy something.
Right.
If they poured concrete down the drain. And I'm not giving anybody any ideas, I hope, listening out there thinking, I want to get back at my landlord or get back at the bank or something like that. It's just going to do you more harm than good down the road, I promise.
Right. And then another, speaking of that, is sometimes we don't even know what's been going on in the pipes that's leading from like the main sewer line on the street all the way up to the apartment complexes. Yeah. So I had to learn the hard way as well of like, you want to snake those lines when you're doing your due diligence. And I think, as I've shared, since I'm very detail oriented with numbers, I now have a huge checklist when I'm buying a property. I go on site, I'm like, we're going to snake those drains. We're going to do X, Y, Z, check everything, every nook and cranny, just to make sure what we're buying into is, what they said we're buying into.
Right.
And then that comes back to the fun part is sometimes we get to negotiate. And I know some people find that scary or it's just not fun. For me, I love that part because at the end of the day, there's no emotions. It's just, hey, I found XYZ wrong. Can you, please give us maybe an extra 50 grand off the price so we can fix this? Otherwise, we'll just walk away because it doesn't work for us. And then we just do that. And they don't want to talk.
In some cases, the commercial owners might be able to sort of understand where you're coming from, but I'm sure you also get a lot of people that are emotional about the property they own, or maybe they start thinking like, no, it's worth this amount, I want this amount for the property.
Right. So there's a lot of pride of ownership for some folks, and to your point, what I do is I actually get it appraised probably about 2 times by different, either with a broker or, I'll work with the lender, get those numbers in. And then at the same time, I'll also get 3 different bids. I always go by the rule of 3, 3 different bids on, let's just say we needed like the main line fix for gas or something. I'll get him. I'll get those bids out there and I'll say, hey, look, here's that range. Let's take the average. Let's just meet in the middle. I'm not going to try to lowball you. I'm not going to try to rip you off, but here's what the numbers are telling me. So I'm not going to step any further until we can agree on that.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you negotiate with these people, okay, are you typically working with like a real estate agent? Are you working like solo and you're finding these properties and you're talking to sellers directly, or how are you typically doing this?
It's a little bit of both. So with agents, and I love what they do, so thank you to all agents out there, the good ones. There's a lot of, back and forth. It's almost like playing telephone. But you want to make sure the information's passed correctly. So I do that as well. But if I could, I usually try to ask if I can talk with the sellers directly. Because when you connect with them and you build a rapport, you truly start understanding what they value the most. Then it's about, okay, let's work together. Because Pam would like this, Mr. Seller would like this. Okay, let's talk it out. What can we do to meet in the middle? And I think that's the best part right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's funny because we talk about that a lot, even on the residential side, is that when you're talking with a seller, it's very important to build that rapport with them and find out what exactly is that they need.
Yeah, because sometimes what you are looking for is not what they really want out of the deal. The last deal, for example, we just bought a 24 unit up in Oregon. The owner, he is up there in his age. I want to say he's probably almost 75. So he was concerned about, hey, am I going to get a lump sum? What are the tax implications? So I explained that to him with my background. And then on top of that, he was worried that we were just going to come in and bulldoze him with a deal that would like lowball him and everything. And I worked with him. He was a little old school. So a lot of things were snail mailed. Okay. Can you believe that? Yeah. We're still doing that. And I worked with him. I was like, it's okay. No problem. I will hand deliver, or I'll get a property manager to hand deliver you things. You don't have a scanner. You don't have a printer. You don't have a fax machine. No problem. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
So that took a bit of time, but at the end of the day, I think he appreciated that. And that's what made it so much easier when it came to the negotiations of just, hey, I really need some repair money. Can you help me out? What can you help me out with?
Yeah, and that's, obviously a very crucial thing that a lot of people forget when dealing with a seller, dealing with anybody that you're negotiating with for anything, is that you're really just trying to work with them as best you possibly can. I think a lot of people forget that.
Right, and at the end of the day, guys, we're all human, right? So we have, we just want to feel like we're human with one another.
Now, you've probably experienced it too, where like a seller might be a little more like knowledgeable about real estate than the actual realtor they're working with.
Yes.
And sometimes these realtors don't have the creative strategies that they've, like the seller might be aware of. The seller might have bought the property with seller financing,
right?
Originally, and they may have not had a loan on it at any point. And so when they're going to sell, they're thinking, I'm just going to sell it off with seller financing, and I'll just keep getting a mortgage payment each month from it. Right. Have you ever found like agents get in the way of some of those creative deals?
Yes. So prior to closing on this 24-unit deal, we had a deal in contract that was about the same, maybe 27 units or something in the same area, but it fell apart because of that. So I had an agent, the seller had an agent. One of the agents just wasn't up to speed on it, and then on top of that, he was like a state away, which already is hard to deal with because you want an agent who's local, who knows the pulse, who's there. So that quickly killed the deal because both the seller and myself, we were trying to make it work, but the agent kind of made it very difficult. And at the end of the day, it was like, you know what? We're just not going to work together for now.
Right.
Maybe in the future if you change agents, because he made it ridiculously hard. Like, for example, for homes, when you inspect them, that could be a day job or maybe a couple hours in, right? Depending on the condition of the property. Well, I had 27 units to walk into, right? To inspect every single corner. The agent wanted it done in 8 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So things like that just made it hard. And I think the seller was also listening to the agent, which is fine. I get it. But at the end of the day, it was just like, no one's going to really jump through the hoops for that. And the interesting thing is, to this day, that property still hasn't sold. And I told that agent straight up, I was like, look, if y'all don't change the way you're handling it, no one's really going to do it. No one's going to bite the bullet. I'm sorry.
I mean, if people want to rush me, I'm just going to tell them, like, I'm going to assume it's the worst then.
Right?
Each unit's going to cost me $50,000 to repair. That's the worst possible case. I'm going to walk in, there's going to be nothing in there. It's just going to be empty walls, or even better, it'll be just sticks. There won't be any drywall in there either, No plumbing, no electrical. I'm just going to have to do everything. So I'm rebuilding this apartment building, right?
From scratch,
Like, I'll tell you what, I'll make my offer based upon that. Or you give me more time and I can come up with a more accurate number, and I won't side that I'm going to make because I know they're probably not that bad, especially if there's people living in them.
Exactly. If there's people living in them, usually it's in a livable condition, I like to say. Though I have to say there are some folks who just surprisingly can live with the limitations.
Yeah.
They just, I guess they never put in a maintenance order, or maybe the property management company wasn't really taking care of them either. So I found that a lot to be the case of why the landlords try to sell their property, because they just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, and I've met a lot of tenants that are actually afraid of the landlord or the management company, where if they make requests, they're going to get evicted. Like they don't understand their own rights as a tenant. Yeah. And in California, we're a very tenant friendly state. Like, I know, like my administrative assistant at the office, she just dealt with a situation where her main water line coming into the home exploded on her. Basically, it burst. So she had her whole living room was flooded, and everything. Wow. And so the company that rents the property to her, and she rents a house, but this is a major landlord company that exists out here in the Inland Empire. They were being really rude about it, and really just trying to push her around and stuff. And I'm like, no, you can't live in this house. You can't use it. Like, why are you going to pay the full rent for this time period? They're going to get the insurance to come back and pay them.
Exactly.
Pay anyway. And plus, once they tore back walls, they found all this mold everywhere.
Oh,
and I'm like, and they're going to make you stay in the house. They're not going to let you stay in a hotel while they fix this stuff, and not going to remediate it. So I was like, just document everything, photographs, do everything. I was like, and
landlords are making us all look bad. When people hear real estate investors, they think slumlords, and that's not all of us. We actually want to provide quality living for folks who want to be in our complexes or your houses, for example, that you rehab and sell. That's just sad.
Yeah. So she filed a lawsuit yesterday.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
I hope she. Yeah.
And she'll
teaches them lesson.
She'll win. I mean, she has all the documentation. We actually paid for a property inspector to go inspect it.
Nice.
And has documentation of the mold and everything, like, and their knowledge of it, and telling her to stay in the house. Like, it's all bad for them. Like, they don't know who they were messing with, but
good.
But also, like, because of our position in the community, like, we have a responsibility to investors to really uphold other investors to a certain standard. And
Right.
you know, like, these are just basic, like, human conduct. Like, you know, these are other humans we're working with. Like,
Right.
like, be courteous. If you don't want to have your own family living in a situation like that, why would you be okay forcing somebody else to live in that situation?
Exactly. And what I do, Todd, is when I do my due diligence and I go on site to all these properties, I actually meet with every single tenant.
Yeah.
Not that I go there announcing that, hey, I'm coming. You know, 'cause
yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to buy it yet, but that kind of gives you a face-to-face contact that, hey, we're human. We may own this under an entity, but at the end of it all, we're still human, and we're going to do our best to help you out. So what I do is I walk with my property managers, and we just say, hey, just checking the unit, inspecting it. Are there any issues that we should be aware of? Oh, man. Sometimes they have a slew of them because they feel comfortable. Sometimes they're like, you know what? I'm being, you know, I've been taken care of really well, and hey, that's fine. Good to know. You know, so it's nice to do that.
Yeah, and I've experienced the same thing with, you know, tenants living in a property. Sometimes they can be really helpful. Sometimes they're upset, and, you know, they think they're going to get kicked out because you're going to want to come in and, you know, gut everything and renovate the whole place and turn it into a hotel or something. I don't know, but
right. And I think the most important thing is communication and building rapport.
Yeah.
What we do is we always communicate with letters and in person with our property managers of like, hey, we're sorry, you're going to be inconvenienced a little bit, but we're fixing your roof. You're going to have a new roof in the next, 10 days or something, just so that when winter comes and there's rain,
there'll be no leaks.
Yeah, there'll be no leaks, and you'll thank us later. Maybe not right now, but, we do try to work with tenants. And I think we just need more people like us out there to help make a difference, just to show that, hey, there's not a lot of bad slumlords out there.
Yeah, well, it's a slow movement. We're working our way into it. Eventually, the whole world will be great landlords, and there won't be any of these slumlords out there, right?
And I'm hoping to develop one day too. So that's kind of my long-term plan. When I first met you and I talked about is I really want to get into developing from scratch, to develop these complexes, turn them into whether it's a resort type living or economical living, whatever it may be. I just love it so much, Todd. I can't stop talking about it.
Well, it's fun, and it's definitely something I've been wanting to get into. Actually, I started kind of getting into commercial real estate educational wise back in 2011. It was about the same time that you probably jumped into it.
Yeah, I took the plunge. So what? How did you get introduced to that?
So I was actually just one day, I found one of these seminars online, right? And I'd already been doing residential stuff, flips. I already had some rentals of my own, and I was like, I want to get into commercial. I want to do like an apartment building. So, because what I'd run into was the Fannie Mae limitation on mortgages you can have.
Yes.
So it was limited to 10 at that time, but most banks wouldn't you have more than 4. So I had my 4 rentals, and I'm like, what am I going to do now? I can't get another mortgage, because I was putting cash in, refinancing them out once I finished the rehab, putting a tenant in and all that. It was going great. And then we run into this issue that I'd never heard of before. And I'm like, okay, I need to get into apartments so I can get bigger financing. Started looking like corporate credit and other people's money. I guess that's when I started that journey. Because I'd never worked with anybody other than one hard money lender and family money. That was how I started it.
Good for you.
So I found a seminar, and I ended up going to this thing. The woman that put that seminar on ended up getting arrested by the FBI.
Oh, no. Well, this is not a good example now.
So her partner, the partner on that thing, he said, you know what, I'm refunding all the money in the form of I'm hiring another one of these people who taught me how to invest in commercial real estate, and he'll put on a seminar. So we ended up going to Vegas for this other seminar that this other guy put on, and it was all paid for. So it was just straight content. It was actually probably the most amazing seminar I've ever been to.
Wow. And
all the stuff they gave us, all the binders and everything was great. So at the end of that seminar, I got signed up on CoStar, and I started I started finding properties. I started, working at it. And at this time, I was working on a triplex in Moreno Valley that I was needing more money on. So I ended up not hiring, but my lender wouldn't lend me more money to finish it. So I went out looking for somebody that had money to help me finish this project. I ended up meeting a guy And he basically lent me the money to pay off the old loan and gave me the money to finish this project so I can keep this triplex.
Oh, that's awesome
And,
to hear.
So he and I, we started getting to talking. We started looking into more stuff, and I'm like, I really want to do commercial real estate. So I found this big old apartment complex. I think it was 99 units.
Wow.
And it was $2.1 million.
I would love that right now.
Yeah, I know. It was an amazing deal, and we locked it up. We were all set to close. Everything was there, and then because he had all the credit, he had all the money, everything was good. But then U.S. Bank shut down that lending division.
Oh no!
As we were like about to close escrow, and so they pulled out, and the seller now went to foreclosure and lost it.
Oh.
And so it's funny because the bank didn't come back to us. As a
really,
it was weird because it was U.S. Bank who foreclosed on it.
You would think they would say,
we're just approved with you. Like, I don't understand how these cross-departmental issues can show up. Like, you had a buyer, he was financed, and he was approved by your bank.
Right.
You guys foreclosed on it. You now own it. You're going to be a terrible operator. Like, I don't understand how these things work. But we ended up not getting that deal. And at that same time, he was really looking into hard money lending. He had gone to a conference of his own and found out he wanted to be a hard money lender. So this partner of mine and I, we ended up starting a hard money lending company.
There you go.
This was back in 2011. So we, kind of fill you up to speed from there. I then went and in like 2013, he didn't want to raise additional capital, so I started Rehab Loan Group, my company, and that was when I brought in Steve and all these other people I already knew.
Nice.
To help build that business. But yeah, it was because of him. Like, I was like going down the commercial line. That's the route I was going.
Okay, yeah.
And then hard money came in, and I was doing that. That took all my time.
Talk about a blessing in disguise, though, because it's kind of like a learning experience. And I feel like with every single property that I've bought with my private investors, I call them my angel investors, there's always a story of how to get it. Like, we'll come so close to close of escrow, and then something happens, blows it up or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just makes you stronger for it. And, for those of you who are listening, who are thinking of eventually taking the plunge or just trying to dabble some more in it, just go for it. You have us to help you out, or to talk to. Come to real estate investing groups. Everyone's been there, has kind of failed, so to speak, at some point. It's kind of like learning to walk. You have to take a few stumbles, but if you kind of align yourself with, the right information, the right education out there, and just working with positive role models and people together, you can kind of come through. And I love the community for that. But yeah, if you're wanting to go back into commercial real estate, love to help you out. I really wish there was that deal now.
Oh yeah, I know.
Right? You're talking about the numbers. So 99 units for $2 million. We can't find that in California unless maybe you have an off-market deal. And if so, let me know.
Yeah, and even at that time, I think it was like a 15% cap rate. Like,
oh wow,
as it sat, and it was like half vacant.
Jeez, but just to quickly turn that around, yeah, you'd make.
That was going to be a very good deal. Like, that was going to be my 2011, 12, 13, all in one deal.
Right?
That was going to be very nice.
Oh, and the thing you mentioned, Todd, about lending, what's also cool about commercial real estate, this side, is that there's non-recourse loans. So meaning that, well, you still have to play by the rules. You have to kind of keep the property in good order and not be negligent with the property and all that fun stuff. But technically, you don't need to have all the partners' names on there as a guarantor,
right?
Which is great. I think that's something that kind of appealed to me when I was researching between, do I want to go through the single family home side, or if I want to kind of just take the plunge and go on this other beast road right here. So that was kind of nice. So the deal that we just closed was actually a Freddie Mac. And while there's a lot of paperwork to fill out, thanks to the crash back then, and I'm not kidding with the size of the paperwork, this is how much it was.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was pretty fun.
For those of you that can't see, who aren't watching the video, it's like a 6-inch stack of papers, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of signing. But at the end of the day, it was nice because they basically kind of help you. They really want to help you acquire the property as long as you dance by their rules. And their rules are not that crazy either, even though a lot of the jargon may seem like it. But at the end of the day, they just really want you to take care of the property. And that's the part that I love, is the managing it and making sure that it's profitable, making sure that it's a good living space for tenants who we want to attract. We want to attract quality tenants. And then, you know, that passive income is pretty much non-taxable. So
Right.
it's a good write-off for most of the investors that I work with who are already getting taxed a lot for other things that they are invested in.
So do you find that a lot of your investors will go through like a self-directed IRA or something like that in order to invest?
Well, so most of my investors, as I shared, were mostly like my engineering buddies. So they had a lot of cash actually just sitting on the side.
It's amazing.
And it's amazing because we talk about it and I'm like, well, okay, your savings is giving you 2%. I can give
That's
you
amazing. That would be great.
or 1 to 2%, right? Well, back then, right?
Yeah,
now
yeah.
it's like, maybe 0.5%. So, and it's like, well, if I can offer you more than that, you do the math, let me know, and let's work about it. But yes, I love the fact that you can use, you know, the self-directed IRAs, even 401ks. And a lot of people don't know about that.
Right.
So it's out there, people. There's a way to make your money work harder for you, and that is the end goal of the day. Make that money work hard for you so you can retire faster, so you can, you know, travel with your family or stay home and just, you know, have fun seeing your kids grow up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about passive income, I guess, is that you can be anywhere in the world and your rent's going to come in. And, you know, you're like, I just got paid today. Great. You know, and now you can be anywhere when that happens because it's just going to show up in your bank if you set it up right.
Right. And that's also another reason why I love working with apartment complexes, because it may be busy during the first, 10 days of the month when rent is coming in, or if we need to evict, or if someone's late or whatnot. But wherever you are, nowadays with like technology, you have your phone. So I could just call my property manager, or they could call me, text me, email, and it's all sorted already. I don't have to physically like fly out there or drive out there. So that's another perk for those who are afraid to invest outside of your backyard. You know, it's not as hard as it was before. But that being said, as I was talking with Todd earlier, I mean, there are deals in your backyard as well. As hard as it may be, you just have to really be persistent about looking for them.
Yeah, somebody might want to rent out the doghouse that's in the backyard, you know.
For who here?
Yeah, but there's there's actually like in like the Bay Area, there's people that are like renting their front yards out to people to like
Get out of here.
Like, put up a tent, you know, and like camp in the front yard.
Wow.
I'm like, huh.
I've heard of people like renting their like little RVs though, and letting people just kind of camp out for a couple days up there. But that's pretty cool.
Hey, I mean,
we're getting creative.
There's a lot of ways. I mean, with Airbnb, when Airbnb came out, like suddenly people had this like, oh, I have an extra room, and like there's quite a bit of validity to Airbnb claiming that they helped a lot of people during the downturn, because if you had an extra room or had an extra unit on your property, you could actually rent this thing out on a nightly rate. It actually helped a lot of people be able to make their mortgage payment during the downturn. Like I've met a lot of people that have done that sort of thing through Airbnb, and it's amazing to hear their stories about how like we were, you know, my husband was laid off, but we had these 2 extra rooms because the kids moved out, and so we were just renting out these 2 extra rooms and bringing in another, you know, $800 a month in income from these things. It's like, that's great. So they were able to like keep their homes,
right?
And you know, now they just love it because you meet so many different people, and you know, if you don't have kids at home, for some of these older folks, they're like, it's nice to just have new people around all the time you can talk to, and
right, you know, and mingle. They'll be us in a decade or so,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
When our kids are grown up and out of the house. That'll be interesting when we become empty nesters.
I know. I don't know how it's going to work. It'll be funny, but I mean, then again, I don't really see myself ever fully retiring either. So
yeah, you will. I mean, I don't mind saying that I've retired from engineering,
but
I love what I do. So in regards to real estate investing, like I do this and I can do it on the fly, which I think I love because I have a 2.5-year-old. So it gets a little hard to manage the times or the calls when you have a kid who sometimes needs your attention, which you obviously want to give them your attention. So I think that's also another perk to have, is to be flexible in my schedule. And I'll admit, sometimes I work in my PJs because I make phone calls and they don't see me. I don't see them. And it's kind of nice.
I remember seeing, there was like a commercial a little while back where this woman, like she's at home and you know, she's about to like get on like a conference call, it looks like, and she sets up her laptop, and like all you see is her like from the head down to like her like her waist basically, and she's dressed in like a professional kind of outfit or whatever. But then like as soon as the conference call ends, she closes the laptop and gets up, and there she's in like pajamas with slippers on. Like
I gotta admit, sometimes I'm like that. If I have to Skype with my investors to like say, hey, here's your update on your property. This is how much we're projecting. This is how much you're gonna get paid. Things are going great. Once I shut that laptop, I'm like, okay, the camera's not working right. I'm in my PJs.
All right, so it's funny because you mentioned investors. This is something that's not talked about a whole lot because, there's a lot of regulations that go around working with other people's money and stuff. So before we jump into this, I want to remind everybody out there that we're not trying to sell any securities or anything like that. We're not broker dealers. We're not anything. We're just real estate investors, and we're talking about capital raising from a educational and sort of informational standpoint. We're not trying to, you should talk to your attorney and your CPA before you undergo any kind of capital raise of any kind.
Or your enrolled agent too.
Yeah, you can talk to the enrolled agents.
That's what I am.
You're an enrolled agent?
Yeah, I'm an enrolled agent. That's why I was telling you, like, I have a background in taxes. So.
Okay, so what would be the benefit of being an enrolled agent?
Benefit? Well, for me, I love numbers. So after I retired from engineering, I was like, I need something to keep my brain going. I miss the technical work. And I love, like, just the numbers of just trying to help, like a person do their tax return just so that they can get the best amount of refund back or whatever their situation may be. But I have to say I specialize more on the real estate side. Okay. So I love working with that. It's like being creative about it because, sometimes you hold properties in an entity, but then sometimes there's, like you have to deal with partnerships or how do you work that out? Those are the type of questions I love. And when we sit together, I'll explain it to them and show them how it passes through or not. Sometimes you want to do a corporation, then we go from there. Yeah. So that's how I like that. And then I've helped some people with, when the IRS is inquiring further about whatever their situation is, I will help them write a letter and just kind of questions. Because sometimes it's almost like a gray area reading the tax code. It's not always fun. It'll put some people to sleep. But I have to thank my mother-in-law for really turning me on to this because she is a pro. So she works up north with H&R Block, but she is super awesome and just gives great advice. And she turned me on to this, and now I do that on the side too. So it's fun.
Okay, so I guess from a standpoint of working with your investors, being able to break down for them like what's best tax-wise for them to do, like maybe they're approaching retirement age or maybe they're maybe their W-2 wages are too high or something like that, and you want to kind of work with them to maximize their returns, I guess. Yeah,
so one of the main things is like I just genuinely I'll ask like, hey, do you own any properties? Because let me show you what could happen, and I'll do the scenario whether it's on TurboTax or when I was at H&R Block I did I use their software or I'll handwrite it out for them and just kind of say, look, these are certain things that you can write off that normally you probably can't with other vehicles that you're trying to invest in. So when you do real estate, here's what you can do. Yeah. And then so it's almost like a light bulb goes off for some of the people. And then when you share that, hey, you can use your self-directed IRA or your 401k to help you grow your investment, how does that all flow down? And I think at the end of the day, it's just trying to simplify the tax code. That's really what it is simplifying it for them so they understand, like, hey, if they have stocks and bonds, dividends, then real estate ownerships, how in the world does that flow all together? And then if they have their W-2 and they're like, let's just say they make a lot of money and they're getting taxed up the wahoozy because they don't have kids. Right. They don't even own their, like, they don't have a home. They're just renting, What else can they do? And so that's where I'll come in and just share with them, like, hey, you could do this, you could do that. Yeah. How would this help? And maybe it'll lower your tax bracket if you go this route, things like that. Now, when you buy a property, what entity structure do you usually use? I usually go with an LLC, but I have done some JVs, joint ventures before. Have you done that as well? Yeah, we've done joint venture. We've done all of it, actually. I mean, LLCs, joint ventures, general partnerships, we've done trusts, we've done all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so I did a trust before too, and then JVs, but I really love the LLC side. just because I like it. It's such a nice avenue for the structure, and I've met some folks who've done as a corporation, which I'm not sure why. I still don't see the benefit.
I've heard some stuff because of the recent tax changes that corporations might actually be a beneficial way to go.
It might
be.
Yeah.
Because the C corp for a long time was sort of like the standard way of doing it, and then the S corp came around, LLCs, all these other cool little vehicles showed up. But C corps, I've heard, are going to come back into favor. This is what I heard. I don't know.
Well, let's see. They usually vote things in at the end of the year, so let's see how that comes about for when we do our 2018 tax returns, or what's going to come out of that.
Right.
But yeah, I usually own in LLCs, but my first lesson was I own under my own name. Then I realized, oh my gosh, I don't want to get calls. I don't want to get solicitation.
Yeah.
It was just a nightmare. Then I consulted with my attorney down in San Diego. I was like, what can we do here? And that's when I was introduced to that.
To the LLCs.
Yeah, to the LLCs or an LP or whatever.
Yeah. And how do you have them taxed?
Oh, good question. As a disregarded entity.
Okay.
So
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
you have to fill me in on that one.
All right. So when
Wait, hold on a second. My accountant, if you're listening, okay, how come I don't know about this? Disregarded entity. This is cool. All right,
well,
let's go.
You could do that if you're single. It depends how many people you have on there. So I guess let me backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
How many people you have in this LLC? You have one, you could be, disregarded, meaning it just flows down to yourself.
Okay.
That's
so if you're
all.
just a single member LLC.
Yeah, and that's fairly easy. If you have more than two, you have your partnerships, and you have to do your Schedule Ks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you
and then you get K1s and all that to your investors. Yep.
Yep, and that still flows through. So there's that as well. And then the more you have, but what's fun though is when you deal with, you and I touched on this a little bit, is the PPM route.
Yeah.
When
the private placement memorandum.
There we go.
So when you want to do like a 501c3 type capital raise, which is pretty much looking to not be regulated by the SEC. So these are regulations that actually, what's the word they use? It's not restrict, but they allow you to like put money together in a group for certain types of assets, because they're not securities regulated type securities.
Correct. Yeah, and this is and touching on this topic, this is probably going to take up more than an hour. So
right.
But yes, there's just special ways of structuring and how it's going to flow down. So yeah, in general, what I love about it is just that if you're in a partnership in real estate with somebody, so if you're going to do it yourself, guys, or with anybody else, usually there should be pass-through income, which comes to you, and you get your write-offs. And
right.
That's what helps offset your income.
So the entity takes the write-offs, or do the individual, you actually pass through the you pass the write-offs to the members as well?
I think it depends on how that's set up, which would be a longer topic.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm sorry. Yeah, otherwise
that's okay.
It could take a while.
That's okay. My accountant is going to be coming on here pretty soon. Not today, but he's going to be on in a future episode. So
good.
I'm going to really drill him down on some of this stuff, because that's one thing that I'm not super familiar with, is the tax code and how it affects people with, like I don't know all that stuff. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't become a CPA or anything like that. So I
went into it because I was genuinely curious, because when you hire outside, you kind of want to know where the money is flowing. Well, for me, because I have my engineering background, so I'm very kind of like stuck on the numbers.
Yeah.
So for me, I was just like, okay, well, if I'm paying you to do this, can you explain to me where it goes, how it flows through all the sheets of paper? And that's where I just started loving it as well. So that's why I got into it. But yes, for the general public, usually it's fine. If you're hiring your CPA, your enrolled agent, you're probably covered in a good way.
So when you're doing a PPM fund, essentially, right, you're putting together, let's just say you're putting together $1 million to buy a property. You're doing that. You're creating an LLC for this fund. Right. And that's what the PPM, all that stuff describes this fund. We'll call it the Pam Scamardo Fund 1 or something like that, LLC.
Okay, yeah. A long name right there.
Yeah, it's a very long name. And sometimes they get long. A lot of times they're named after like the street or like the property address,
Yes, I'll see that a lot.
So so you basically create this LLC. All the investors put in their capital, and as an LLC, they'd be members of this LLC with voting rights, right?
Depends on how you write it.
So yeah, I've heard it both ways.
Yeah, I'm of the side of you do have a say, but at the end of the day, I will be making the majority.
You're the managing member.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And it really depends on how you want to do it. So yeah, like if you dealt with it both ways, in my experience, it just helps when there's one manager versus multiple.
Yeah, there's not really like issues to vote on per se. Once you buy the property, it's like we're going to run the property. Like that's what we're going to do. Does everybody agree that's what we're going to do? Yes? Okay, cool. Thanks.
And we don't want to slow it down with like random questions of like, well, what about...
Should we replace the roof? No, what
about the color of this leaf that's outside in my, in my bush? No, we don't care about that right now. Let's worry about, other things.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. So like they just deferred Pam to handle all the daily management, and you handle everything.
Right. That's my expertise.
And they get to kick back and, drink Mai Tais and watch you do your thing.
Right. Mailbox money for them.
Exactly. Which is very nice. People like that stuff. So, okay, when you put together these people, obviously you've identified a property. You found 123 Main Street. They want $1 million for it, or whatever. They want $800,000 for it. You're going to put $200,000 in rehab on it,
right?
Because you got to do some work there.
Yeah, we're going to bring you guys in to do the work. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thank you. No, but so you basically put together this thing. You say, okay, investors, here's this deal we got. I have this $800,000 property. We're going to put $200,000 in. Everybody's going to put we're going to get financing from XYZ Bank. They're going to give us 65% of the purchase price, and we're going to kick in the rest from the fund. And we're going to have the $200,000 on our own that we're going to have to raise also from the fund, and that's what's going to go towards rehab.
Right.
So you already have all these things identified. Then you send it out to your investors, and
correct.
Then you fund, and everything's good, and now you own the property, and then you manage it, and everything's...
Yeah, we all own it, and then they get quarterly dividends.
You're doing it quarterly, okay.
Yeah, well, it depends on the size, but the bigger it is, what I'm finding is it's much easier to do quarterly. Otherwise, you'll kind of get bogged down with a lot of details that would slow your process in managing the property. So usually I do monthly, but now if it's a bigger property, it's going to be quarterly, and then we'll let you know, like, hey, these past 3 months, 2 thumbs up. We did the roofs, we did the exterior painting, we repaved the parking lot. It looks brand spanking new. Here's a picture.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, call anytime. And usually, some people follow up or they want to, go visit it. Sure. Why not?
Okay.
If you want to
fly up to Oregon, check it out.
Go for it. Not a problem.
And then, you also probably report back on occupancy. Like we were at 80%, now we're at 85. We,
Yeah, we replaced it. Like, for example, with this 24 unit, this is exciting news that I haven't told my investors yet.
Oh, sweet.
But once I prepare the report, it's like, so it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath unit, around 900 square feet, I want to say, built in 1991, so fairly new. And, it was renting for $725 when we bought it, $725 per month.
Okay.
Well, we just went in, fixed it up. Now it's renting for $950 a month.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we turned over 3 units already, and the plan is to change all 24 units to $950 a month. So right there, that's the part I love. It's the manual operating part where you can just up your performance and your numbers immediately.
Right.
Through slow working in a process, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really exciting. I think it's a really fun way of getting into real estate. And yeah, we could spend a lot more time talking about this. We're just barely getting in the tip of the iceberg capital raise. Like we didn't really get into capital raising much, but
hey, next time.
It gives us a reason to have Pam back, and I'm sure everybody else would love to have Pam back because this is sort of a world a lot of people want to get into. I've talked to a lot of people. They say they want to get into commercial real estate, but they went to their first weekend seminar 2 weekends ago, and this is that's the knowledge they have, and they're excited, and I love the energy they have, but they got a lot to learn. It's not quite as simple as going to 1 weekend seminar and just jumping right in.
Right.
Sometimes you got to have, there's some things, especially if you're putting other people's money at risk. I think they should probably be educated or at least be working with somebody that has an experience level. And so many people want to do this as a solopreneur where they're doing it all on their own. And, you came in right at the right time. 2011 was an amazing time to come in.
Yeah, which I didn't know at the time. So looking back, I was like, oh, I wish I had it all the capital to just, kind of go out and buy. But yeah, it's hard when capital preservation is the #1 goal of what Todd and I do. It's capital preservation. So how do we do that? And how do we make sure we don't make mistakes?
And that's always the biggest questions investors ask us when we're working with a new person. They're like, basically they want to know, like, what happens in a complete failure? What happens to my money? Do I lose my money entirely? And, at least with the deals we do currently, no, you don't. Like, at the worst case scenario is we have a house and we got to figure out what to do with it,
Right.
You're not going to lose all your money unless we sell the house at a discount. And
exactly. And same here. It's like, I haven't lost anything either, but you want to go in with education, and sometimes like pairing with experienced partners also help as well.
Yeah.
And in my case, I did a lot of research, educated myself a lot, and always was transparent with everyone with what I was doing. And we've done well since then. But starting small is key, guys. I think that's what's helped me a lot. Is if you can dabble at your backyard, do it and start small. So that way you kind of take small steps versus huge stepping stones to learn.
Right, yeah. Don't buy a 99-unit apartment building as your first one.
Well, now you can. We can do it together.
Yeah, now you can. All right. So, all right. Before we go, I want to talk a little bit about the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. That's the reason we put on the show here, is just to get you all to come out to the investment club, because I met Pam at the club. I didn't know Pam before, so she came out to Saturday morning coffee this month. And I met her there. She came to the month meeting on the fourth Wednesday of every month. And, we hit it off talking about real estate investing and commercial and all kinds of good stuff. So for those of you out there that want to get into real estate investing, or people that are already investing in real estate and want to meet fellow real estate investors to, find out you're not crazy and you're not alone in this business, come out to the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. We have 3 meetings a month. The first one is the first Wednesday of every month. We do that at the Round Table Pizza in Highland, which is called it's a cash flow game. It's actually a board game created by Robert Kiyosaki that teaches you how to invest in property and do creative kind of deals. So that's on the first Wednesday. It's at 6 o'clock. Then on the Saturday before the fourth Wednesday, we always do a Saturday morning coffee where we get together at a coffee shop in Riverside called where do we go? Oh, we go to Arcade Coffee now, and we talk about real estate. It's just networking. That's $10 to get in now. You get food and a drink, and also the cash flow, it's $10 to come in, but you get pizza, wings, and some soft drinks, breadsticks, all kinds of good stuff, salad, and it's $10. And then on the fourth Wednesday of the month, on the 26th of September, we'll be doing our monthly meeting. That will be from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. at the Mission Inn in downtown Riverside. That's $30 to come in because we have food there as well, and some beverages and whatnot. So you can get all the information you need on meetup.com. That's just go check out the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. You can also type that into Google and it'll come up. I want to thank Pam for coming out today.
Thanks.
And we'll see you all again next week. Thank you all.
Let me throw my website out there. www.tpklm.com. Check it out.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Do you feel tired in the middle of the day? How about a boost? O2 for You helps boost your energy just when you feel you've had enough. This portable oxygen canister is simple to use. Just inhale, hold for a second, then exhale. Benefits include hangover relief, reduced stress and fatigue, and drives endurance at the gym and in intimate settings, if you know what I mean. For you smokers, you know who you are. O2 for You can possibly help you quit smoking. O2 for You also enhances focus for seniors. O2 for You is featured in the newly released major motion picture Limelight, starring Paul Vandervoort, Jenna Jameson, and Jonathan Lipnicki. Stream Limelight on Google Play, Amazon, and iTunes. Call 877-720-7553. That's 877-720-7553, 877-720-7553 right now, or visit them at buyo2foryou.com. That's BUYO, the number 2, the number 4, the letter U.com. Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now. Do you feel tired in the middle of the day? How about a boost? O2 for You helps boost your energy just when you feel you've had enough. This portable oxygen canister is simple to use. Just inhale, hold for a second, then exhale. Benefits include hangover relief, reduce stress and fatigue, and drives endurance at the gym and in intimate settings, if you know what I mean. For you smokers, you know who you are. O2 for You can possibly help you quit smoking. O2 for You also enhances focus for seniors. O2 for You is featured in the newly released major motion picture Limelight, starring Paul Vandervoort, Jenna Jameson, and Jonathan Lipnicki. Stream Limelight on Google Play, Amazon, and iTunes. Call 877-720-7553. That's 877-720-7553, 877-720-7553 right now, or visit them at buyo2foryou.com. That's BUYO, the number 2, the number 4, the letter U.com.
You can put it on the board. Yes!
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal here with Long Beach Lenny. Today's show is brought to you by O2 for You. You can boost your energy when you feel tired with this portable oxygen canister. It's simple to use and great for hangover relief, reduce stress and fatigue, endurance at the gym, or in intimate settings, if you know what I mean. And for you smokers out there, it could possibly help you quit smoking. It's also great for seniors. Call 877-720-7553 right now. 877-720-7553. Give O2 for You a call. Free shipping if you call right now. 877-720-7553. Also, you can visit them at buyo2foryou.com. That's B-U-Y, the letter O, the number 2, the number 4, the letter U.com. Buyo2foryou.com. Tell them the circus sent you. Also, a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio and our NBC Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And Lenny, today marks the start of college football. Yes!
That's exciting. College football. That's exactly what we needed. Put it on the board. Yes.
What could be better than college football? I got to tell you, man, I look forward to this. This is the best time of the year. Right? The leaves are starting to change colors. College football's in full swing. You've got the Fall Classic coming up. The NFL starts. Everything starts. It's mayhem in the sporting world.
The thing that's not good about college football right now is just continuously seeing Alabama there at the top of the food chain every single year. It just gets old. It gets really, really old. I'm glad that we do have, though, we got Clemson and Georgia's up there, and Wisconsin's just always just a big, beefy team that can grind you down. But this year, I'm just wondering, Sal, I'm wondering if this is going to be the year that Alabama gets out slow out of the gate. You remember last year about the 1-loss teams and 2-loss teams being in consideration for the playoffs? That was ridiculous. And then there was one team, Sal, the name's sort of escaping me, Sal. One that you really rode that horse saying that they should have been the national champion the whole time.
Damn
They
right.
got cheated.
I was saying it at mid-season, all the way through their victory against Auburn. That was the University of Central Florida Knights. They should have been the national champs. And look at this nonsensical preseason ranking at 21. Meanwhile, Alabama, who basically won the SEC title, is at number 1. How ridiculous is that? And everybody says, well, they didn't play the competition, but they played the teams they had to. They beat the FBS team. They beat the ranked teams. They should have been there. And at least if Alabama had any gonads, they would have gone ahead and played Central Florida anyway, just to prove that they were the better team. But no, of course they wouldn't do that. Now, would they?
I don't believe that Central Florida really, Sal, deserves this 21 ranking, even in the top 25. The reason why it's simple, you lose your head coach, Sal. That takes a lot out of you. That's the whole dynamic of their team. That was their identity, was their coach's scheme, the coach's philosophy, the coach's playbook. Now you take that coach away. Who's coming in there? Rumpel Schnuckenfire. Nobody knows who this guy is, all right? Nobody can name it. 844-305-7800. Anybody that can tell me right now the coach of UCF. Nobody can, Sal.
And what are you going to give him? You're going to give him a bag of red vines?
I'll give them a bag of red vines, okay? I'll give them a promissory note for a big bag of red vines if they can say it. But look, don't you agree with me on that? I mean, look, you lose your coach. You lose your coach, your identity, somebody who brought you to the promised land last year. And now you lose this guy. You really think they're going to be there?
You lose a piece of the puzzle. You're not losing the identity of the program, because the fact is you had how many players on that team? Yeah, they lost. They graduated some players, and the coach went on to Nebraska. But at the end of the day, you still have the bulk of your team there. I'm not saying that they're worth a 21 ranking. I'm not saying that they're worth a number 1 ranking. I am saying that their identity is still there. They didn't lose their identity. They just have to make some changes.
Yes, they did too lose their identity. Okay, and here we have it. Mark it here. Let's mark it, Rocky. First game of the year right now. This team, UCF, by week number 4, will fall far from the top 25. They'll end up losing and big. They're going to run into some competition without this coach here.
And who are they going to run into competition against?
Their soft schedule and division. They're not playing anybody close to someone who's relevant in the top 10.
But you just said in the first 4 games, they're going to lose, drop out of the top 25. But all right, so tonight they're playing UConn. Then they're playing South Carolina State. Then they're at the Chapel Hillbillies of North Carolina. Then they're at Florida Atlantic. Now, maybe Carolina can beat them. Outside of that, the others, forget it. Not even close. And then
there you go. You just
they're playing
Pitt.
You
just said a loss. There it is. And then Pitt.
That's not going to knock them out of the top 25. Come on, man.
So do you think that this team is a bowl-eligible playoff team?
Yes, they certainly are.
Oh, my gosh. Talk about smoking something.
No, you're the one on the crack pipe, mister.
Are you really?
No,
yeah, that is laughable. That is absolutely laughable, Sal, for certain.
Oh.
Stop it. Play it again, Rocky. Play it again, please. That was just ridiculous, Sal. Thank you, millennial drunk. Sal is drunk on his own expectations for this team that he is connected to. It's almost like a Cinderella story for you.
I'm not connected to him. No, but I am connected. No, I'm connected to the Purdue Boilermakers that won enough games to win a bowl game last year, and I look for them to win at least 8 this year. And they are playing today against the Northwestern Wildcats right there in the backyard of our Chicago WCGO affiliate. And so just for WCGO, we're going to give a astounding round of applause. But for Northwestern, we're going to give them a wonderful chorus of boos. Just because we can.
So you're already giving up on UCF. Wow, Uncle Sal.
How is he giving up on them?
You have adopted them last year out of obscurity.
You
put them under your wing.
Yes.
You put them in the back room. You cleared out the big gangsters with the cigars, and you said, come in here. Uncle Sal will protect you because I believe in you kids. And now you've dropped them onto the corner. You've given them like $2. $2 in their pocket to be able to get an Uber driver to get them home, and that's it.
No,
that was packing.
No, that was the Cinderella glass slipper. And the year before, you may recall, it was Western Michigan and P.J. Fleck, who's over now with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And so another one of those coaches from the Cinderella teams goes now into the Big Ten at the University of Minnesota. My point is, if there's an underdog out there, I'm going to root for him because why? People love underdogs, and the last thing we want to see is more Alabama. I think you and I can both agree on that, but outside of that, your other arguments are preposterous, to say the least, and they're crumbling, just like this building. Folks, we're going to be back in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come. More nonsense from Lenny.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119.